Here we go in 3, 2, and 1. And joining us now on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a man who's written a very interesting book and hopefully will help a lot of people if you ever find yourself in trouble. It's called Survive Like a Spy. Real CIA operatives reveal how they stay safe in a dangerous world and how you can too. We're joined today by Jason Hanson. Of course, he wrote the previous best-selling book, Spy Secrets That Can Save Your Life, and he joined us by telephone today, former CIA officer himself. And Jason, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, good to have a chance to talk with you. You're out in Utah, right?
I am. Well, today I'm in New York, but yes, I do live in a small town in southern Utah.
I was going to say, that's a nice, comfortable place to live after all the adventures you've had in your life.
I love it. I don't have any traffic. I can be anywhere 5 minutes, so I'll plan on being there a long time.
That's it. Well, it's a great book. I had a chance to read through it over the weekend, and again, we all hope we never have to be in these types of situations where you have to do these things, but I guess in the world we live in today, particularly, I guess, if you travel overseas, hopefully not in the U.S., but if you do travel overseas, you may find yourself in a situation where some of these techniques can help, right?
Exactly. I mean, the whole point of the book is to give people peace of mind. So these are scenarios we pray we never find ourselves in, but because it is such a crazy, unpredictable world, it's better to plan ahead, better to be prepared, because then you know how to react if something does happen.
Yeah, and you tell some of your adventures as well, along with the tips that the rest of us can use. And boy, you've had some real interesting ones in your career. Did you ever think when you were doing that for a living that it would kind of turn into this type of the previous book and now this one? It must be kind of a different avenue for you.
Yeah, I wish I could say I had some genius insight that after the CIA I was going to be able to write books and use this information, but I didn't. However, as the world's getting crazier and we train a lot of people and we do all kinds of security work, people ask more and more questions such as, what did you do? What do spies do? And it's so relatable because spying is common sense on steroids. So you can take all the stuff we did and the average American can use it to be safer.
I think most people, though, might get a skewed vision of what a spy is just from all the TV shows and movies. It's somewhat like that. I guess part of it is true, but a lot of it is kind of dramatized. So, James Bond and all that it's kind of fictionalized. But there is some truth in what we've seen and what you have to do, right, to protect yourself and some of the gadgets that you use over the years, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Hollywood makes it a heck of a lot more exciting because real spying is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of deep research. It's a lot of walking around cities, casing places, and looking for escape routes and avenues. So it's 99% hard work and 1% hang on for your life. And, I mean, that's why you prepare, so hopefully the 1% never happens, but when it does, you're ready for it.
Let's talk about a couple of these, instances in the book that hopefully will never be in, but if you are, at least you have some idea how to get out of it. And I guess the number one thing, so many parents worry about, the child, being taken or kidnapped, or if yourself perhaps find that in your situation. Give a little bit tip or two of what you should do in that situation, or try and prevent it.
Sure. So, yeah, obviously you're going to do everything you can to kick and scream and gouge out eyes to avoid being taken. So you don't want to end up in that car or end up in the van. But if you do, you want to leave a trail, a DNA trail, to make it as easy as possible for the FBI, for the police to track you. And what that means is maybe cutting your finger, so you're wiping blood inside the vehicle or inside a room. You're going to stick your finger down your throat and puke everywhere. That way there's DNA everywhere. So we know the criminals are likely going to move you, but if you can keep leaving these trails, you're much more likely to be rescued quickly by the FBI or whomever.
Yeah, it's when I read that, I was interested in that. I mean, it may sound a little gross, but, your life's at stake. You got to do what you can do, right? And that's a good way to leave a clue.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you're in the back of a van getting kidnapped, the last thing on your mind is going to be worrying about puking everywhere, so you'll be glad to do that.
How about, we mentioned before, traveling nowadays in so many countries that, probably you don't want to travel to, but maybe you do if you're you're a businessman. You have to go to some of these countries. What do you need to bring with you? What do you need to do when you travel?
Yeah, so there's some easy items. One of them is antibiotics. If you're going overseas, you never know when some crisis maybe happen and you won't have access to a doctor. So always bring antibiotics. That's easy to do. Another one is a flashlight. Again, on a plane, that gives you light, or maybe you're in a hotel overseas when the electricity goes out. If you have a flashlight with you in your pocket or on your nightstand, can get you out of a very bad situation. Also a belt. Most of us are wearing a belt anyways. You can use a belt as a tourniquet, so you can stop bleeding in some kind of dangerous situation. You can use a belt for self-defense, so you can whack somebody with that hard buckle. And then, of course, there are travel belts where you can hide money or copies of passports inside, and I definitely use a travel belt when I'm traveling overseas.
Yeah, I've always had one. My parents gave us those when we were kids, a money belt, just have some cash in there in case you get separated from your wallet. You at least get somewhere via bus if you have to. But so that's a good idea to carry that kind of belt or something like that with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy to do. And again, you mentioned, don't keep all your money in one place. So keep a little money in your pocket, keep a little money in the belt. You can even shove some money in your socks, but spread it out in the event, heaven forbid, you get pickpocketed or something.
Well, another great tip you gave in the book, again, so important now to kind of create some covert signals to help protect your family. Can you give an idea, too, what that would be?
Yeah, so that can be anything, meaning it could be you're going to scratch your eye in a certain way when you need to get out of the scenario, when you need to get out of a situation, you don't want to scream across a crowd. We know cell phones go down during crisis situations. 9/11, people could make calls. So have walkie-talkies. They're inexpensive. You can keep them charged. It can also be something as simple as you have meeting locations. If something happens, we're going to meet here, but in a horrible scenario, we're going to have a backup location in case the first one isn't accessible, and having paper and ink around, that way you can leave notes if you need to. Yeah. So there are many different simple things that people can do to make sure they stay in touch.
I think another one is so many people, and I guess particularly women, feel this way, or maybe more so than men, obviously, that you feel someone's following you. You gave some good tips there of kind of, creating a pattern of walking away, or just so it makes it more difficult for them to do that, right?
Yeah, something spies do that is very important is called an SDR, and SDR stands for Surveillance Detection Route. So if you're going to a meeting, a spy is, they're not going to go directly to that meeting. They may go to Walmart, then they may go to Starbucks, then they may go to the gym, and if they notice the same car, the same people at all those different locations, they're going to abort that meeting. Well, if you think you're being followed, let's say you leave the office one day and you think the same car's following you, you clearly don't want to drive straight to your house. So you may pass your house, and then you may take a left here, and then a right here, and then a left, and you can quickly figure out if you are indeed being followed, and at that point call the police and make sure you go to some public area.
Yeah, good tip. Just kind of, I've seen that in movies, where you kind of change cars occasionally, or do you ever have to do? But that's a good way to do it if you feel someone is tracking. Well, it's a great book, again, filled with not only those kind of tips and information, but your stories as well, and you've had quite a few. I'm sure you've had more than have fit in these 2 books. You probably have another 2 or 3 books in here, right, Jason?
That is correct. We're actually working on the 3rd one right now.
Great. We'll look forward to talking to you at that time. But in the meantime, we invite our audience to check it out. Survive Like a Spy. Jason Hanson has been our guest. Jason, you have a website you can direct those people to?
Yeah, if they go to spyscape.com, they can get the book and find out all kinds of information.
Great. Jason, pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we can do it again. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.